You scroll through short videos for hours, but your brain is not just resting, it is physically shrinking in size. And this process can be reversed. Your brain is physically shrinking, the cutting has started. Chronic consumption of short-form content triggers a process where your prefrontal cortex becomes thinner, losing its structural density. Your focus is losing its home. This is not just fatigue. Resting with your phone is a lie, because your nervous system remains in a state of high alert and constant scanning. Your phone is stealing your recovery. The brain seeks efficiency. To save energy, your brain performs synaptic pruning, systematically destroying the neural circuits responsible for long-term deep concentration. Your brain is killing its best parts. Meet the efficient gardener. This gardener is cold and logical, removing every connection that you do not use during your daily digital scrolling. Use it or lose it forever, the price of convenience. When you stop reading long texts, the brain assumes those complex pathways are redundant and begins their total liquidation. Complexity is being erased. Your focus is on the edge. By understanding the biology of this decay, you can stop the robotic shears and begin the process of reconstruction. You can stop the scissors, the first step to recovery. We will use a method called cognitive fasting to force your brain to regrow the lost neural connections. Starve the noise to grow the mind. Here is the plan. First, we must identify the exact moment your attention breaks and why the digital void is so seductive. Why do you fall for it? The void is calling. Every notification is a signal to your brain that the current task is not important enough to keep your focus. Notifications are cognitive weapons. The damage is deep. To your biological hardware, the rapid flash of images feels like a high-speed chase, keeping your stress hormones at peak levels. Your brain thinks it is running. The director is dying. This state of constant scanning destroys your executive function, the mental muscle that allows you to choose where to look. You have lost your command. The thinning is real. As the cortical thinning progresses, the gray matter in your frontal lobes becomes less dense, reducing your ability to resist impulses. Your willpower has a shape. It is getting thinner. You are not just distracted. You are becoming biologically incapable of sustained attention because the physical wires are gone. The wires are physically cut, the goldfish myth. Modern research shows that the human attention span has dropped below that of a goldfish, but the truth is much darker, worse than a goldfish, the multitasking trap. Multitasking is a neurological illusion that further accelerates the pruning process by forcing the brain to switch states constantly. Multitasking is a lie, the cost of switching. Every time you switch tabs, you pay a switching cost that drains your remaining cognitive glucose, leaving you paralyzed by evening. Your brain is running empty. Pain in deep work. This is why trying to read a deep book now feels like a physical struggle against an invisible wall in your mind. Why does reading hurt? Dopamine is the poison. Your brain has been trained to expect a dopamine hit every 15 seconds, making anything slower feel like a threat to survival. You are a dopamine beggar. The loop is closing. The loop of short content is designed to bypass your logic and talk directly to your primitive survival circuits. Logic is not invited. Time to reconstruct. To stop the decay, you must initiate a process of neuroplastic recovery by placing your brain in a controlled state of boredom. Boredom is your only medicine. The starvation begins. Cognitive fasting starts by removing all high dopamine triggers for exactly 60 minutes every single morning. 1 hour of digital silence. Watch the static. In the first stage, you will feel a surge of cortisol and phantom vibrations, as your brain screams for its lost stimulation. The withdrawal is physical. Do not look away. Do not reach for the device. Instead, observe the anxiety as a mechanical error in a system trying to recalibrate itself. You are the observer now, the seeds of focus. As the noise fades, your brain begins to search for new connections, a process called spontaneous cognitive branching. New circuits are growing. Deep work architecture. Now you must build the architecture of deep work, a state where your prefrontal cortex regains its lost thickness. Build your mental fortress. The rule of 50. Set a timer for 50 minutes and engage with a single complex task, ignoring the biological urge to switch tabs. 50 minutes of pure truth. The pain of growth. When your mind wanders, gently pull it back, imagining you are physically reattaching a severed cable in your cortex. Pull the wire back. Consistency is the key. This effort creates a signal that these circuits are necessary, preventing the robotic shears from returning to your garden. Fire the gardener, the first win. After 3 days of this practice, the gray matter density begins to stabilize, and the invisible wall starts to dissolve. The wall is breaking, but traps remain. You might think watching educational short videos is better, but the rapid format still prevents information from entering long-term memory. Education can be a trap, the illusion of knowing. This creates an illusion of competence, where you feel smarter while your brain is actually losing the ability to think critically. Feeling smart is not thinking, the forgetting curve. Without the pause for reflection, the hippocampus fails to tag the data as important, and it is purged within 1 hour. Your brain is burning data, the craving returns. The greatest danger is the micro-relapse, where one quick check of a notification restarts the entire cycle of cortical thinning. One click resets everything, the phantom vibration. Your brain will hallucinate sounds and touches, creating phantom vibrations to trick you into seeking a dopamine hit. Your mind is lying to you. Resist the ghost. To combat this, you must treat your attention as a finite biological resource, like oxygen or blood flow. Attention is your lifeblood. Protect the flow. Every app on your device is an industrial-grade distraction engine designed by thousands of engineers to break your willpower. It is an unfair fight, the strategy of defense. The first defensive strategy is gray scaling, removing the color from your screen to make it biologically uninteresting. Kill the color, save the brain, neutralize the trigger. When the screen is gray, your primitive circuits no longer recognize it as a source of high-value rewards, become invisible to the loop. The second defense. The second strategy is the physical barrier, placing the device in another room to increase the friction of use. Distance is your discipline. The brain starts to heal. To understand the scale of the damage, we must look at magnetic resonance imaging of brains addicted to short-form stimulation. The MRI does not lie. Look at the gaps. The scans suggest dark voids in the areas responsible for impulse control, resembling the brains of people with severe substance addiction. Your brain on digital drugs, the chemical war. Inside your synapses, a chemical war is happening between glutamate, the accelerator, and GABA, the brakes of your nervous system. Your brakes are failing, the accelerator is stuck. Constant scrolling floods the brain with glutamate, overstimulating the neurons until they literally burn out and die. Neural circuits are burning. Silence the fire. To restore balance, you need to increase your GABA levels through deep breathing and long periods of physical movement. Cool down your brain. The myth of recovery. Many people try to recover by switching to different digital content, but the brain does not distinguish between genres of noise. Noise is noise. True silence is rare. True recovery requires absolute sensory deprivation, where the brain is forced to generate its own internal stimulation again. Force the brain to dream. The return of the self. As the internal stimulation returns, you will find that you can once again hold a single thought for minutes without effort. One thought. One focus, the biological timeline. This reconstruction is not instant. It follows a strict biological timeline of 21 days for the first structural changes, 21 days to change, the final test. By the end of the third week, the MRI would likely show the first signs of the prefrontal cortex regaining its lost volume. Your brain is growing back. The choice is yours. Now that you understand the biological cost, you must decide if you will remain a product of the algorithm or become its architect. Architect or product, define your boundaries. Reclaiming your focus starts with environmental design, removing every digital trigger from your field of vision. Clean your digital house. The first boundary. Establish a sacred space where no devices are allowed, a physical sanctuary for your prefrontal cortex to thrive. Build a neural sanctuary. The rule of depth. Practice the art of single tasking by doing one thing at a time with total presence. From drinking water to reading a page, do one thing perfectly. The hunger for more. You will feel the urge to check the void, but remember that every resisted impulse is a victory for your neural density. Resistance is growth, the strength of silence. Silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of your own self-generated thoughts returning to the surface. Hear your own mind, the long game. This is a lifelong battle against an industry that profits from your fragmentation and your cognitive decay. The industry wants your mind. Hold the line. By choosing depth over speed, you are evolving into a rare class of human being capable of true creation. Depth is a superpower, the final transformation. Your brain is not a static object. It is a dynamic garden that responds to every second of your focused attention. Your garden. Your rules. The director returns. The director has returned to the throne, and the prefrontal cortex is once again the master of your destiny. the master is home, final clarity. Put down the screen after this video, and give your brain the first hour of true silence it has had in years. Walk away from the void, the first hour. The robotic shears have stopped because they no longer have anything to cut in a mind that is fully awake. The shears are broken, the cure is you. You are the gardener, and your attention is the light that determines what lives and what dies inside you. You are the gardener, choose wisely. The choice to reclaim your brain is the most important act of rebellion you can perform in the modern world. Rebel against the decay, the end. Start now. Your cortex is waiting to grow back. Start your growth now, now. The blueprint for reconstruction is now in your hands. Growth requires a guardian, for the glitch in your attention runs deeper than willpower. Willpower is not enough, the glitch remains.